Not recommended, be a tire. Did you get stung at all?
No.
All right. Here's some of the small leaf linden. You can see they're just starting to flower, starting to open up. The nice part is being in a city, most of these city trees are all linden trees. And then over here, there's a lot of linden trees as well. So that's gonna be a big part of the nectar flow. All right, so when we talk about backyard beekeeping, people always wonder, like, do you have to plant flowers in your garden? And although that's good, there's a lot of stuff. And really one of the things that surprised me when I got into it is how much bees get nectar and pollen from trees. You have to remember that trees flower. And so one of the things that you see here is this is a big linden tree or basswood, and all these are getting ready to flower. And so a tree like this will produce pounds and pounds of nectar. And you can see just how big it is, and that's going to be coming in. So although you get wildflowers like this down here, and you'll still see bees on these, that's really not a huge source of the nectar, especially in these areas. Now, if you are on a field edge and there's acres of this, yeah, you're going to get a product. But for me, especially being in the city setting, linden trees, locusts, all this, these are going to come into flower here. Some of them already are. And that's where a lot of that honey's gonna come from. At Macys Vineyard Hive. And the reason that it's called Macys Vineyard Hive is that this hive right here is placed, as I pan nice and slow, next to this awesome vineyard. And let me just show you how well this is doing this year. And these are Marquette grapes, Frank?
Yep.
These ones are Marquette. And then as I go up, the ones up on top, couple rows are Concord, but these ones are just absolutely producing. Look at this. So,
And why is it called Macys Vineyard?
yeah, so this was built, Frank said that after Macy, my daughter, had died, he wanted to build a vineyard in her name. And the thought was that we'd go to Napa Valley, purchase a whole bunch of land and do it out there, but the price was just not right for us. And so we ended up building this vineyard down here, and so now this has become Macys Vineyard. Hey guys, welcome to Z's Bees. We're gonna come down here. The linden trees are coming into bloom, and so I really want to make sure that all my hives are set up properly for storing honey. So I want to make sure, just to see where we're at, I brought down an extra honey super. I have used up all of my drawn out comb, so now I'll be putting just foundation onto them. So we're going to check this one out. And this is looking pretty good. This was a hive that overwintered. They were really small in the cluster. I gave them a couple frames of brood throughout the season so far on different hives that were really strong, maybe too strong. And they built up really nice, and I think they're coming into their own right at the right time. So I put this honey super on last week, and I'm just trying to see here where they're at as far as storing. I did have, this was one of my foundations, and I'm going to come over by Molly, who is in shorts. You can see they are storing really nice here. So I'm going to make sure, you know, they have some stores in here, but I think this next week is going to be a really big production week. We had some rain earlier, so the bees aren't overly friendly right now, but they're not aggressive at all. And again, this one, they're filling it up, so they have some time. I'm gonna not put one on this hive, I'm meaning another honey super. So I'm gonna put the cover back on. And let's see how they're doing. And it looks like they actually are kind of in that Ross rounds. I'd love for them to come up here and start drawing out into there. The Ross rounds will then give me comb honey, which is a unique thing. I just want to see how we're looking. really nice population. Let's see how they're doing drawing out. Again, not the best time to be inspecting the bees because we just had some rain, are probably going to get some more. But from this box being almost all foundation, it looks like they're starting to move up. Let's just take a look at how we're looking here in this upper box. Oh, this is great. This is perfect. Really good. Ooh, and it's all laid out, which means that our queen, ouch, just took one in the finger. That one hurt. If you get really close on those, little eggs in there. Ooh, and what do you spot on this frame? I found her. Do you see her on there?
Yeah, I got a close-up of her.
Ooh. So let's get her back in there. How about that? Picked her out on the first. So now you want to be real careful not to roll her. But she moved up there. This is excellent. So what's going to happen is because she's up there, she's laying eggs. They're going to bring food up there. They're going to draw that out. This will be a whole nother box of foundation that I did not have before. And if they get their population up in time, maybe they'll fill out those Ross rounds and we'll get some comb honey this year. So this is a Ross rounds box. You see there is some bees on the bottom. They go up in there. There's just wax foundation. There's no plastic in there. And it comes out as they draw it out and fill it with honey. There would then be comb honey that you can store. So we'll see how that turns out. But that's a really good sign with this hive. It took a little while to get going. I actually introduced a queen into this hive and the queen did not survive. And then they actually requeened themselves with a frame of brood that I had put in. So this one's really good. That's good to see. Their temperament is good. They're doing really good, and holy cow, Molly, come here once. This is a hive that I need to add a super because they are packed in there, which means that this is a hive that produced a crazy amount of honey last year. So I am gonna probably add this foundation onto this hive. Let's just see how we're doing here. This hive produces a ton of propolis, and I don't want to pop this. The propolis is tree resin. My goodness. You can see they're filling all this. So this hive, just watch yourself here, Molly, a little bit. Let's see, there's a bunch of bees in there. Let's see if they're actually working in there. Feels pretty light. A little bit in there, but the majority of the bees were actually over a little bit. Let me go over 2 frames. All right, we got some more weight here. So get nice and close. They're storing into that box. This side, you can see they're starting to store from the bottom up. So I'm actually going to give them some foundation just because of the amount of bees that are up. This was all just re-waxed this morning. This is a box. I just made these frames. I waxed it. If you look at the angle there, you can see I put a nice heavy coat of wax on this. That's all this is here. So instead of the 9 frames, I have 10 because I want them to draw this out. So we'll just take and we'll plot this on just like this, and we'll leave this hive untouched for quite a period of time. See, a lot of the bees are just kind of milling around, really calm bees, but look at the amount of propolis that this hive is creating. I mean, this is it's real sticky, but they use a lot of tree resins, your pines, the saps, and that's how they seal up hives. Some hives produce more than others, and some commercial keepers will actually try to have bees that don't create it because this stuff gets into everything and just makes everything a little bit more difficult to work with. Okay, let's get into this one. We'll just move this over so we don't have to bend over. This hive was really strong. We started it from a nuke. I think they might have swarmed, but there was a ton of resources left in this hive. So I'm actually hoping we get a honey crop, and I actually see a few more bees in here. Molly, if you want to come up real close, there's not a ton, but when I run queen excluders, I like to just see bees that are up here. Let's see what they're doing here. They had about a box and a half filled. Let's see here. Are we doing anything in here? No, not much. So there's not a ton. Oh, there's a little store in here. So again, you can see the stores here. There are faces in there, so they are storing. I just don't know that they have the population still. So because I have this foundation like this, I'm just going to keep an eye on it. But what I'll end up doing is with this box, if they aren't able to fill because they don't have the population, I'll probably move this box to a hive that's really roaring to go, because they'll fill that so much faster. So I'll just show you here quick the box below to kind of show you what they did ahead of time, and I'm just curious how they're doing on capping over. So most of this was done previous, and I still have a good population down here.
Previous to the swarm, you mean?
Yep.
Okay.
So you can see it's completely full. They're starting to cap it over. Some of that in there looks darker because this was a frame that I used without a queen excluder, and at one point the queen did lay brood in there. It's probably that nice light honey. And then I'll grab the frame next to it. These are ones, because they were drawn out, they are 9 frame. And I'll show you what that's doing for me. But again, this frame here is completely full. And by doing 9 frame, if you look at the frame on edge, they're drawing that way out. So when I take a knife and I cut that off, they'll get a whole bunch more, as opposed to the 10 frame where they wouldn't draw that out as far. So they're still working this. Let's grab a middle frame and see what they're doing on capping over.
Did one get ya?
Yeah, a couple got me. 2 got me. So right there is a good example of that pheromone. As soon as one hit me, another one hit me. I wanted to grab the smoker. I just kept moving my hand a little bit just so I couldn't grab a hold. And so now I'll just see how the temperament is. It's been good. But I'm also in there honey super on a cloudy, well, it's sunny now, but generally a cloudy day. So this is not the ideal time to work bees. So I swell up pretty good when I get stung. So I'll show you my hand later.
That's why I stay back here.
So this frame here, I'd say weighs 4 to 5 pounds. Again, completely full, and they're starting to cap it over. Really looking healthy bees. Zoom in nice on that. These bees are not the ones that actually went out and collected it. These bees would have been passed the nectar from the bees that go out and collect. They then basically spit the nectar into these bees' mouths. These bees then come up and store it. That's where the enzymes get added. So when we talk about a box of honey, just to give you an idea, this box right here is probably about, well, anywhere from 35 to 45 pounds of honey. So a box like this, you can see that it's full. During a strong nectar flow, they can fill a box like this in 1 week. So that's what I really want to stay ahead on. So they have, again, all my hives now have plenty of room. We'll put this back on top, square up our corners. Put our cover back on. We'll be good to go. All set for this week. Thanks for watching Z's Bees. We'll keep you posted throughout in Wisconsin here. I'll probably pull a lot of these honey supers once they're capped over, end of July, early August. So we're starting to get into that area. We've had very limited rain, but it has come intermittent enough that I think we still can get a really nice honey crop, especially off of the basswood or linden trees. Our pump down here, our solar pump, is still working good. If you want to zoom in on that, that's completely solar powered. I just put the solar panel up on top of this. We had some real strong rains. You can see I covered the solar panel up for a second, and the bees have been really enjoying that. What's nice, I'll show you how I check this here. So I just lift this off, and I can see that the water level inside is good. If not, I just fill it through that big hole. And it's nice because you can just kind of set it and forget it, and the 5 gallons in there lasts a long time, so you don't have to be down here every single day. Again, thanks for watching Z's Bees. Make sure you like and subscribe the channel.